Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from HolsingersFlyShop.com, bringing in another fly tying video, and that's right, it's another stonefly. But this is different because it's tied on a jig hook, something I've never tied before in a stonefly for video purpose. A couple months ago, well actually about a month ago, I had one of my viewers email me and say, could you please tie a stonefly on a jig with lively legs? I want to see how you do it. At the time, there wasn't a hook on the market that I could do it with because there wasn't a hook shank long enough on a jig for me to do it with. I had some in the shop. I was waiting for them to bring them out, but Firehole brought out a really nice hook. It's the Firehole 523. I like it. You have to work a little bit. The hook gap could be a little bit bigger. I'm not going to lie. I wish it had a little bit bigger hook gap, but adjust your materials. It's great for this stonefly. It's got a nice jig hook, or a nice gap for this stonefly, because the stonefly doesn't have a lot of material on the bottom. You can't go real heavy on like a chenille. It's going to really eat up your hook gap. But for a stonefly like I'm tying here, great looking hook, great looking pattern. So let's get into tying it. Here's a picture of the fly and the material list. Okay, here we go with the stonefly jig. You can see here I got it in the vise now. And I got it upside down so you can see how it's going to ride in the water. We're going to tie most of it this way, some of it that way, but you get the point. This is how it's going to ride in the water. So let's pop our hook in the vise here. For a hook, we are using the new Firehole 523. Okay, it is a jig hook, and it's a long shank. It's a 3 extra long, 1 extra gap, and it's a heavy hook. So the next thing I'm going to do is put my thread on, and my thread came unwound here, so I'm going to have to put my thread back in my bobbin. There we go. And the bead we're using is a 3.3 millimeter tungsten bead. And this is like the smallest that I tie this really on the jig hook here. I can tie it on a 14, but you're getting pretty small. This 12 is about perfect size for most of the stoneflies that I fish. And like always with these jig hooks, I'm going to take and push that bead right up to the eye, and then I'm going to create a ball of thread right behind it to lock it in place. Make a little cone going up to it there. Okay, the thread we're using is 140 Denier cream. And we are going to, because it's a stonefly, I'm going to put Biots for a tail. I'm going to go right back to the bend of the hook. I want to get as much as I can for length here, because we're putting the lively legs on it. So go back to the bend of the hook and make my little ball of thread. Now if you want, you can come back here and put a little hot spot ball, if you'd really like to. Or just do it with cream and we're going to make a golden stone. Now next thing I'm going to use is a couple yellow goose biots. Goose or turkey, whichever you have. These are goose. And I'm going to put one on each side. So we're going to put that on there. Get it wrapped onto the side. And then I'm going to, you see there where I wrapped it. Okay, now I'm going to put one on the other side, and I'm going to make it the same length if I don't drop it. So we'll cut another one off here. There we go. And we will put the other one on, this, like I said, the same length. We'll hold it on the side there, match it up, and then tie it down. Now, when I tie it down like this, is I tie it back. If I tie one side down at a time, one side will splay out further than the other. So if you tie them down equally, they will splay pretty equally on that ball of thread right there. So there you go, you got a nice splayed tail. Now this, I can just continue to wrap up here and wrap them down, or I could have just pulled them off, either way. Okay, next thing I'm going to put on is my lively legs. The lively legs we're using is a large lively legs. These are yellow. You know, match your fly. If you're tying a black one, use black, or rust or something. And if you're tying a brown one, use rust or brown or purple fleck, whichever ones you like best. And I'm only going to use, because of the size of this, I'm only going to use the front 2 legs. You see, if I used all 3, it would take up the whole fly. So we're just going to use the front 2. We're going to cut off and leave, leave about a 1/16 of an inch. We do not want to leave much on the front there. That was even maybe just a tad long. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to cut off the back legs. Okay, and same thing, about a 1/16 of an inch there. Now, I'm going to put this on what will be the top side of the fly. And I'm just going to spin my vise around here. You take advantage of my rotary. And we're going to hold this in place. And I'm going to make a couple, I'm going to put it on the side, on my side a little bit, because it's going to roll around. It just takes a little bit of feel to use these. And I'm going to loosely wrap them down. Once I get them in place where I want them, tight enough to hold it in place, then I'm going to start cranking down on it and keeping them in place. Okay, so you can see there now that I got them all where I want them, I crank down on it, put some tension. You can adjust it a little bit with your fingers. But there you can see they sit right on the top. And the good part is they face down, which is the way we want them, natural looking legs. Now we're going to come back to our back. And I'm going to flip over again to the bottom side of this fly. And I'm going to put some amber D-rib on here. This is a medium for this size 12. And we're just going to tie it on. And it is a D-rib, so one side, you can barely see here. The bottom of this is flat, the top is humped. So I'm going to take the flat side and I'm going to tie the flat side down on the top of the hook, and I'm going to tie the flat side up. Tying it flat side up will allow it to roll over and be against the hook whenever I wrap it down. And you can see I'm wrapping it right to between those legs. That's where I'm going to start the wrap at. And as I get back to that tail, I'm going to pull tension on it to thin it out, getting it back to that tail. And just wrap it down good, cover it up with thread. Now, like in my other videos I stress, if you want, the great thing about this amber, you can change the color of your fly by changing the color of your thread. So if you use amber and you use yellow, you got a golden stone. If you use amber and you use brown, you got a brown stone. Use amber and you use black, you can pretty much get a black stone out of it too. So that's the great thing about amber. I like to use amber and brown, and if you put black thread under brown, you get black. So those are the 2 colors that I mainly use, and 2 colors of thread, or 4 colors of thread to make 4 different colors. So next thing we're going to do is we're just going to wrap this forward. I'm going to create the segmented body here. And just side by side, wrapping it the whole way up. Now once I get up here to where the legs are, I'm going to put it up. You can see here how I run it up like this. I go under that leg and I hold it in place like this, okay? I'm going to tie it down in between those 2 legs. I'm just going to get it nice and tight in there. This is all going to be covered with dubbing, so you won't see any of that here in a second. Now I'm going to cut my tag end off. Okay, and just finish up with some nice wraps here. And now I'm going to flip over to the other side. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is use a little bit of dubbing. I'm using the Golden Stone dubbing here from Whitlock's Dubbing Blend number 2 box. And I use this stuff a lot. I really like the dubbing blends because it's a nice mix of hair and flash. And we're just going to dub some of this onto our thread. And it's going to take a fair amount, not a ton, but a fair amount, because we gotta dub this in between our legs, and we have to kind of figure eight it around there a good bit, because we want to make sure we get covered underneath too. Okay, we want to make sure that it's all nice and covered equally the whole way around. So that covered the back legs, so now I'm going to get the front legs here. I'm just going to dub some more of this on here. Okay, and there we go. We'll just keep figure eighting that around those legs. And now, I'm going to stop a little bit short. You see how I left a little bit there. I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to put a pair of Biots on for the wing case. I have had a lot of success in using the Biots for wing cases like a Prince Nymph on my Stoneflies over taking the time to do them with a Stonefly wing case cutter. These just catch fish, so I do it this way because it's a lot quicker and easier. So what I did was I just crisscrossed them. I set them on top where I wanted them to go, and I tied them down. That easy. Now I've done this a few hundred times, so I probably made it look easier than it may be for you if it's your first time tying it. But you can see they lay just right like that on the top. So now I'm just going to finish this up with one little last touch of dubbing. And that will be all that is to this Stonefly jig. Like I said, it's earlier in the video there, it's a lot like my other Stoneflies. It's just tied on this new jig hook, and it's going to present the fly in a different way. Hopefully you get less snags and stuff with this because it's a jig and it rides upside down. So here's a great way to use the new jig hooks from Firehole, the Firehole 523s. Just whip finish it off and we are done. And there you go, that's it. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I liked bringing it to you. You know me, I like to tie my Stoneflies. And whenever Joe from Firehole reached out to me and said, hey, can you tie some Stoneflies on my jig hooks, and sent me the hooks to give them a try, I said, sure thing. And I like the looks of this hook. I fished it a little bit. It's been winter time here, so I haven't had a lot of opportunity. We've had a lot of ice on and off, and when we didn't have ice, it was muddy water, so I really haven't had a lot of time to get on the water here this spring, or this winter actually. So I haven't got to fish it, but I've been tying a lot of them. They look great, and it's a simple pattern, one that I use a lot, and it's just on a jig hook, which is going to keep you from hooking up on the bottom a lot more often. And I can get the weight down there real quick with it and stuff. So give this fly a try. It's one that I have in my box. And like I said in the video, change up your colors. That's one of the great things about using these materials with the amber, with that D-rib or stretch tubing. You can even go stretch tubing. If you want to go a little bit smaller, drop down to the stretch tubing. That's what I do. Cut out the legs if you want. Tie it like my Hotspot Stone. I've tied a bunch in the Hotspot Stone. And I take it back. I actually did catch a steelhead on it. I was trying them on the steelhead. I did get out once for that. So, and it was on a purple one actually. Purple one with pink Biots. Have fun tying, guys. That's what it's all about. This was a fun one for me because it's my passion, tying Stoneflies. And I got to tie it a different way on a jig hook. I had a lot of fun. So, if you have any questions about it, want any information, contact me at holsingersflyshop.com, or sorry, holsingersflyshop@gmail.com, and I can answer your questions. That'll go directly to me, and I'll answer them. If you have any questions for the shop, of course, send that to contact us at holsingersflyshop.com. And until next time, guys, keep coming back and watching our videos. Check out the other ones out there. Give us a thumbs up if you like these videos. That helps boost me up on the posts. And any questions, just give me a shout in the comments, wherever. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next week, I'm Sean Holsinger.